Welcome to today's edition of the class recap for Monday, February 6th. Our objectives today were to get a feel for Elizabethan England, which is where William Shakespeare hails from historically. So the second objective was to understand who William Shakespeare was as a historical figure. We've all heard of Shakespeare as a writer. We wanted to watch a quick little video to give us an idea of who he was as a man and a historically based human being. The first thing on our plate today was talking about expectations in the hallway. As representatives of Beard English 9 and representatives of Brownsburg High School, it is our duty to always act like young ladies and young gentlemen in the hallway and in the media center out of respect for others and out of personal pride in ourselves. I was very, very impressed with the way students conducted themselves both in the hallways, in the media center, and in the distance learning lab. So kudos to you, Beard English 9, because you guys did a great job. The next thing we did was watch Shakespeare in the classroom. We watched it in the distance learning lab. It was almost a movie theater-like setting, and it's kind of an interesting video. We don't have a copy of it other than on VHS, which is part of the reason we watched it down there. So I can't show you any clips on here, but the gist of it, I'll go through a couple of the points with you. One, only the rich could afford to wear bright clothes. I guess I should take a step back and tell you that the movie is about Elizabethan England. So England, when Queen Elizabeth was in charge, which time frame wise puts us in the 16th century, or in other words, the 1500s. The next point, speaking of only rich being able to afford bright colors, like you can see Queen Elizabeth here is wearing bright, purple was saved for people with the title of Count and up. So if you were a Count of something, you could wear purple. And if you were King or Queen, you could obviously wear whatever color you pleased. Part of the reason purple was saved for royalty was it was very, very expensive to make, which the video does do a good job of talking about. You had to smash up a certain amount of snails of a certain variety, and it was a very laborious process and a very expensive process. So only the rich wore purple. So you may have heard, especially being from Brownsburg, that purple is the color of royalty, and that's very true. The next fact we talked about is very little is known of Shakespeare historically. The movie talked about 5 basic facts that we know. Roughly when he was born, when he died, that he married Anne Hathaway, that he had 3 children, and that's about it. We don't know a whole lot else historically, other than what we have from his plays, from hearsay, and so forth. But historically, solidly, we only know about 5 things, which is surprising since he is such a huge figure in world literature. Next fact, women had very marginal roles at that time in society, which is ironic since their queen was a woman. But this manifested itself in Shakespeare's life in the fact that women were not allowed to perform on stage. For plays such as Romeo and Juliet, men played the roles of women, so Juliet was played by a man. Next fact, theater pits were jammed with poor citizens. They had to crowd themselves into these amphitheaters, which you can kind of see in this picture here, that the poor here, this is where the poor would be historically. It's a modern picture, so it's not exactly what it would look like back then, but pretty close. The poor, this area would just be shoulder to shoulder jam-packed with the poor who don't shower, don't have dental hygiene, and they're going to be standing there for hours without being able to go to the bathroom or leave or get something to eat. So they're going to be cranky and smelly, and it's just going to be claustrophobic and bad, while the rich get to sit in here in comfort and look down on the whole affair with amusement. So, a perfect illustration of what Shakespearean times would have been like, which gear us up for our unit on Romeo and Juliet. Thanks for listening, and have a fantastic day.